Welcome back. Today, we're breaking down the 15 types of plot twists found in storytelling with examples for each type. Plot twists are the holy grail of storytelling. When done right, they make the audience feel both shocked and like they should have seen it coming all along. Here are 15 classic types of plot twists to keep your audience on their toes. Number 1. The identity twist, also called Anagnorisis. This is one of the oldest tricks in storytelling, dating all the way back to ancient Greece. Anagnorisis is the moment a character makes a critical discovery about who they, or someone close to them, really are. The most iconic example in modern culture? I am your father. 4 words that completely recontextualize a hero's entire journey. Here's how it looks in practice. Imagine a rebel leader who spends years fighting a mysterious masked tyrant. They finally face each other in a climactic showdown. And in that moment, they realize the tyrant is their own father. Someone they believed died a hero. Everything they've fought for, every sacrifice they've made, is suddenly colored in a completely different light. That's the identity twist. It doesn't just change what's happening, it changes what already happened. Number 2. The betrayal twist, or the Trojan horse. Trust is the foundation of any good story. So when a trusted ally turns on the protagonist, it hits like a gut punch. Picture a young squire who spends years training under a mentor, slowly earning their trust. Together, they finally reach the legendary treasure vault. The mentor steps aside, gestures to the door, and then shoves the squire into a pit. Because it turns out, only someone with a pure heart could open the vault. The mentor didn't care about the squire. They were just a key. The betrayal twist works because the audience trusted that character too. The pain isn't just the protagonist's, it's ours. Number 3. The villain was right. This one is uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it works. The antagonist's plan is finally revealed, and it's actually justified, maybe even morally correct. Think about this. A hero spends an entire story racing to stop a scientist from releasing a deadly gas into the atmosphere. They succeed. They stop the monster. Roll credits. Except, the gas was a vaccine. An invisible alien plague was arriving the next day, and the hero just doomed the entire human race. This twist forces the audience to question everything. Who is the real villain? What does doing the right thing even mean? The best stories don't just shock you. They leave you sitting with the discomfort long after it's over. Number 4. The Unreliable Narrator. What if the person telling you the story has been lying this whole time? The Unreliable Narrator twist is unsettling because it doesn't just change the ending, it destroys the entire foundation the story was built on. You have to mentally rewatch everything. Here's a chilling example. We follow a devoted caretaker as she narrates her daily struggles to protect her wealthy, bedridden employer from his greedy, scheming relatives. We're completely on her side. Then the final act reveals the truth. There are no relatives, there is no estate, she's a kidnapper. She's been holding this man hostage in an abandoned house, and we believed every single word she told us. Number 5. The perspective shift. This one changes not what happened, but how you see it. For an entire film, we watch a terrifying monster attack a village. It's relentless, it's brutal. We root for the villagers to survive. Then, in the final scene, we shift to the monster's point of view, and we see the truth. The villagers invaded first. They came into its home. They slaughtered its family. Suddenly, the monster isn't the monster anymore. The perspective shift doesn't rewrite the events. It reframes who deserves your sympathy. And it asks a harder question. Were you rooting for the right side? Number 6. The fake death. A character you believe is gone comes back. We watch a mentor sacrifice themselves in a massive explosion to save the hero. It's devastating. The hero grieves. We grieve. The story moves on. Then in the final act, that same mentor walks back into frame as the mastermind behind the entire conflict. The death was staged. The grief was a tool. Every moment of vulnerability the hero showed while mourning was information being fed back to the enemy. The fake death twist works best when the return is more horrifying than the loss. Number 7. The hidden connection. Strangers aren't strangers. Enemies share blood. Coincidences aren't coincidences. 2 rival detectives are locked in fierce competition to solve the same cold case. They can barely stand each other. But as they dig deeper, A DNA match surfaces at the crime scene. They're brothers, separated by the very tragedy they're both investigating. The hidden connection twist reframes an entire relationship in a single moment. It takes conflict and turns it into something far more personal. Number 8. The time twist. Time twists mess with causality, and they are deeply satisfying when they land correctly. A time traveler spends the entire story desperately trying to prevent a massive city fire. They're racing against the clock, doing everything right. Then comes the reveal. The flare they fired in the past, the one they used to signal for help, was the spark that started the fire. They didn't stop the disaster. They caused it. They always caused it. This is called a causal loop, and when a story uses it well, it creates a sense of tragic inevitability. No matter what the character did, the ending was written before the story even began. Number 9. The reversal of fortune, or peripeteia. This is the high to low, or low to high switch. In a single moment, everything changes. A brilliant thief pulls off the heist of the century. Billions in stolen funds. A private island. Complete escape. He did it. Then he wakes up to the news. A global economic collapse, overnight, has rendered every dollar he stole completely worthless. The reversal of fortune doesn't just take away the win, it makes the win itself meaningless. And sometimes that's a crueler punishment than losing outright. Number 10. The secret plan reveal. What looked like failure was actually the strategy all along. A general appears to be losing every battle. He retreats, he surrenders territory, his own soldiers start to question him, the audience starts to question him. Then, in the final scene, we pull back. The enemy army has been marching exactly where he needed them to march, directly into a valley he's already filled with explosives. Every loss was a move. Every retreat was bait. The secret plan reveal reframes incompetence as mastery, and it's deeply satisfying because it rewards the audience's patience. Number 11. The reality twist. What if the world itself isn't what it appears to be? A space crew finally lands on a habitable planet after 100 years in transit. Lush landscapes, breathable air. They made it. Then one of them notices something strange at the edge of the horizon. A seam. A crack in the sky. They never left Earth. The entire journey was a psychological experiment, conducted inside an enormous dome. The planet was constructed. The 100 years were a lie. The reality twist doesn't just change the plot, it dismantles the entire world the audience was living in. Number 12. The meta twist. This one goes even further. This is when the story acknowledges that it is a story. A grizzled detective finally breaks into the mastermind's hidden room, ready for answers. He looks around. No villain, no trap, just a desk with a half-finished manuscript sitting on it. He starts reading, and slowly he realizes the manuscript is his life. Every case, every scar, every loss, written by a struggling author trying to meet a deadline. The meta twist collapses the distance between the character and the audience entirely. It asks, if their world is fiction, what does that say about ours? Number 13. The moral twist. This might be the most uncomfortable twist of all, because it's the one that implicates the hero. A detective dedicates their entire career to hunting a serial killer. Illegal surveillance, violent interrogations, crossing every line again and again because the cause is just. They catch the killer. Justice is served. But then the final act forces them, and the audience, to confront the truth. The methods used to catch this monster were just as criminal as the monster's own crimes. The detective became exactly what they were hunting. They just had a badge. Number 14. The poetic justice twist. This is irony weaponized. The villain isn't defeated by the hero, they're defeated by themselves. An assassin built his entire reputation on untraceable poisons, clean kills, no evidence, dozens of victims who never saw it coming. He reaches for his victory drink after his biggest job and accidentally pricks his finger on his own hidden needle. He dies by the exact method he perfected. The universe handed out a punishment tailored specifically to him. The poetic justice twist feels less like a plot device and more like karma, which is exactly why audiences love it. And number 15, the false protagonist. This one breaks the most fundamental rule of storytelling. Don't kill the character we've invested in. We follow a brave, charismatic captain for the first 20 minutes of the story. We get to know him, we root for him, we're ready to follow him through everything that comes next. Then, In his first real moment of action, he's killed, instantly, by a random accident. And we're left staring at the shy, low-ranking cook who's been standing in the background this whole time, because apparently, this was always his story. The false protagonist twist is a declaration of intent. This story will not follow your expectations. Nothing is safe. Anyone can die. Pay attention. So there you have it. 15 types of plot twists, from identity reveals to false protagonists, from moral reckonings to the fabric of reality coming apart at the seams. But don't feel like you have to pick just one. The most legendary endings often layer these types, stacking a hidden identity on top of a fake death, or burying a moral twist inside a reality reveal. When you layer your twists, you create a shell game that keeps even the smartest audience members from seeing the final move. But here's the one rule that ties them all together. A twist should never be random. It can't just be a surprise for the sake of surprise. The best twists are the ones you didn't see coming, but in hindsight, they were the only thing that could have happened. That's the golden rule. Shock the audience, then make them realize they should have known all along. That's all from us today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more lessons and ideas. See you next time.